So it seems like I may still eat that shrimp. Um, when it comes to it, but there's a possibility that that I may not. So
I know. Clock is ticking.
clock's ticking. Rumors out there. It's catching up steam. No pun intended. Because of Mercury steam, but it's allegedly Switch 2, NX2, as they're calling it. Dev kits are out there. Uh, Allegedly Mercury's team, or a studio in Spain. It's probably Mercury's team. They have a dev kit, and there've been some like sort of like non-confirmations out there about specs, about when's coming out, and what's happening. So, um, first rumor is that of course it's going to be based out of an NVIDIA Tegra processor, which is good because it's probably going to be fully backwards compatible with the original Switch, and that's what I think a lot of people want. And I think the Switch has an incredible library. I don't think Nintendo should re-release a lot of the games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the Mario games. They should just patch them, right? Make them run better in the new
I agree.
hardware. I know that they're working on a new 3D Mario. That's been like we know, right? And that's probably gonna be the one that's gonna come out with this.
Exclusive.
Oh,
Exclusive.
there it is. So maybe that's what's gonna happen, right? If is it gonna come out this year? I don't think so. So I'm probably gonna get that shrimp. So, but part of the rumors is that it's gonna have a new controller. And they were not, based on the, I guess, NDAs and all that. They're not allowed to even mention that there is a new controller. They're not allowed to show the new controller. Allegedly it's gonna be an updated version of the Switch Pro controller, which I think it's a fine controller, and that's gonna be part of the big, reveal part of the new console. So it's based on rumors. It's still gonna be a hybrid. Someone from Activision was saying that it compares to a PS4
Wow.
power wise,
That's
but
good.
there was a rumor after that, or a correction from someone that's in the know, saying that it's actually close to a PS4 Pro power.
Even better.
And that's where we're at right now. So lots of rumors, lots of stuff happening. The leaker that put some of the Mercury Steam info out there, it's saying that based on his sources, this is coming out soon. I I don't know. I don't think it's coming out this year. You know why? Because of RPG, Super Mario RPG. Because that game comes out in November. I doubt that they're going to. That's going to be like the showcase title. There's gotta be more, right? There's gotta be a big. You gotta bring it when it comes to a new release. You gotta have that uh, you know that game, and a new 3D Mario will be it. Unfortunately, we didn't get it with Zelda, right? Because Tears of the Kingdom definitely should have uh, gotten use of that, good use out of the extra power. The impossible game, as I call it, because it's just, how is this game even working? It's, I don't know. Um, but yeah, maybe it'll debut with Mario and Warzone, and Mercury Steam's working on a new Metroid, right? On a remake for Metroid Fusion or something like that. So, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I thought about you and the shrimp right away, so I'm glad you brought it up. Because it's like, wow, you felt it in your gut, but you made such a strong stance of like This thing's coming to the point that you bet a shrimp that you hate to eat on like the fact of it coming, and your
Yeah.
gut isn't necessarily that wrong because it's coming. It's just not maybe within the timeline that maybe you anticipated, but
Yep.
it's coming. And I didn't see this coming personally the way to the extent that you did, but I 100% believe these rumors. PS4 Pro power similarity, that's good enough for what Nintendo's if they're gonna do it as a hybrid console. If you're keeping it to hybrid and that's what you can emulate from a power standpoint, then that's great.
And I think that that choice is because um they're probably going to out battery life the Steam Deck and the
Yeah.
the ROG. So because Steam Deck, like, you can play, you get like an hour out of a Steam Deck, right? You can still get like 4 hour, like, on an OLED, or the revision, the second or third, like, is the second, yeah, the revised Switch with a little better
Yeah.
screen and a better battery. Um, I think that you can get like 4 hours out of like Breath of the Wild. I remember Breath of the Wild when I played a lot of Breath of the Wild in handheld mode, and I could get 2.5 hours, 3 hours out of it. Like, I usually, on average, I would get like 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
which is good. And I think that's probably why they're opting not to go like full on big processor like on the PS5 and Xbox, but um, if the specs are right, this is actually closer to maybe a Series S, actually, because the Series
Yeah.
S and the PS4 Pro are very close when it
Hmm.
comes to graphic performance. Of course, the S has an SSD, has faster memory, and has more memory. So like there's advantages to the S over the PS4 Pro. But I think that that's a good starting point, honestly. Like, even if they go PS4, I think that would have been good. But if they go, it could be that it's it could throttle itself. Like, on handheld, you get PS4 performance, and docked, you get PS4 Pro performance. Like,
Hmm.
that could be an option
I
too.
don't like it's from a technical standpoint it makes sense, but
Well,
I don't like
it
hearing
saves your battery.
it saves you
It saves your
battery,
battery. Yeah.
but I know that would riffle some feathers
Well, you can.
of for
Yeah, I
sure
mean,
on
you
some.
lower the resolution, and you lower
Yeah, yeah.
the speed. It's probably gonna be
You're right.
it's probably nominal. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, if you compare like something like RE4 on PS4 and PS4 Pro, other than frame rate, they both look pretty much identical. So that's you get the hit on frame rate, but you get you get battery out of that.
Right.
That could be the thing. Maybe that's a good contender to come out on updated Switch. Will be like a version of
Mhm.
RE4 on it. So
That's the thing. Now you start talking about games being made, like how we've seen a lot of remakes being brought to the Switch already right now. We know the Arkham Knight game coming in, which has PS4. I don't know how that's gonna run. I look
right,
forward to it. I don't know. I might pick it up. I don't know.
that's a porting
Um,
studio doing that. It's not even
it's
Rocksteady doing it.
right. I don't know. It's very fascinating to
Yeah.
see how that goes. But that could be a thing with this next iteration of the Switch, where like there will be, I'm sure, plenty of like how you're saying, games that are made for this new generation. But there are other games that people are like, oh, that's not a Switch game. Like how we said, like Call of Duty can't run on it. Well, now you're gonna have some of these things brought onto it if it has that capability. That's the one thing that's kept them behind, and if they can get to PS4, PS4 Pro more specific, then that keeps them in the game. Mind you, again, that's assuming that they stay hybrid. Which why wouldn't they? That's one of the biggest things that makes the Switch so awesome. Is that because it's a handheld and docked, and you have like the best parts of the Wii, your motion controllers, you have the best parts of the Nintendo DS, like of the handheld side, and then like you took like the Wii U and like you put all their things thrown into one thing and made a great console experience. So they have no business. They really should not be looking to switch that anytime soon. Obed, name. Do you still think Switch 2, or do you think it's gonna be something else, or do you want it to be something else?
I don't want it to be something else. I want it to be Super Nintendo Switch.
You have said this. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like that's the name. Like how do you go
So it's
back, right?
SNES.
Yeah,
It's the
you
SNES
you'll
basically.
go back to exactly. You go back to the SNES, right? Are we gonna get the Switch 64? Probably not. But we may get, you know,
SNS.
you know, I think Super Nintendo Switch would be the the right name. I would stay away from numbering. That's PlayStation's thing, right? And Xbox to some, to some extent a failure on the one and then series. Like who came up with that name?
I don't know what's
It's the
going on.
series, okay? Um,
Oh man.
but the Super Nintendo Switch would be the name, I think. And then after that, I mean, and if this comes out next year, we're probably thinking 2030 if the AI hasn't taken over. Um, Maybe after that you could deviate and make something new, something fresher, right? Uh, going back and calling it the Nintendo Slate. I don't know, you know, that reference to Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's heating up. Um, the shrimp's heating up too. So, to my disdain, I will have to consume a shellfish. Hopefully, not die in the process or throw up.
No, no.
And
That will be if it should it happen, which is most likely, it will be the last episode of the year. Most likely,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go out with
Or
a
we'll meet out there for lunch. We'll do a short.
yeah.
Yeah, there
Oh
you
my
go.
goodness. Oh, it'll be something.
It'll be something. I don't
I
know.
can't miss video.
it'll
World premiere.
it'll be something for sure. But real quick before we end up on this ongoing cord battle with Xbox and PlayStation and all this like ridiculous things that have gotten out there, and Xbox now saying like there's information, emails saying that we're I guess communications were sent that Phil Spencer, the reason they bought Bethesda was because Starfield was going to be a PS5 exclusive, and Phil Spencer was salty, and that's why they did it. And I, all these like again pathetic kind of like I'm not losing this battle kind of thing that they had going on. They still have going on, right? And higher ups at Bethesda being mad because their games are not exclusive, but Activision games still get to make a ton of money out there being multi-platform. Like there's internal conflict and all this, right? I don't know. The I guess interesting piece of news that has come out of that too, on the PlayStation side, is that the Sony expect to release a PS5 Slim later this year, priced at $399, which is the same price as the non-disc version. Is this going to have a disc? Probably not. Maybe those rumors that
Probably
there's
not.
be like a USB-C drive are true, and maybe that's going to be the case. Maybe they're just going to do away with the disc version and have the disc as an option. And I like this option. Like if this is like remember when the Macs took out the DVD player out of the MacBook Pro, and everyone was and even Steve Jobs was real salty about it. It's like, well, we have to like make an external drive and all this stuff. Like, this was like this. I think this was probably like the last conference before Steve Jobs passed away. Like
RIP.
he wasn't a big fan of the external drive. But I mean, if that's the case, like people at least having the option of having the drive, which is what I would up to, then this would be fine. Yeah, later this year. My if you would ask me a time frame for this, it's probably gonna be Spider Man.
Mm.
So
October.
around late October, right? That would be my prediction. And then there's more information about the Project Q, which is supposed to be out later this year for less than 300. Again, if this handheld doesn't run anything natively, that's not the device for me. But if it does, I'll consider it, and we'll see. Like I get TBD, more information to come. This is still developing, but real quick, Joel, what do you think?
Well, like you mentioned, the big catch is if it's a slim and it doesn't have a disc, it just makes sense. And I think that would be very well received. Having this new iteration of the console, slimmer version, coming out with that price point, probably closer to the holidays, could be a good time to get those being moved and phased in. Obed, this is not to go on a whole other rant, but I think this might be the last generation of discs. I think this is it.
That's probably it.
And like as like sentimental because I do like my disc games. I get it, and I actually see it now. Like when we talked about this in the PS4 days, I was like, I don't think it's time yet. I think you still got to do what you got to
Yeah,
do, and they did the right thing with PS5. But I think we're moving to streaming. I think with the way PS Plus has been changed around, with the way things. So like with that being said, with the way PS5 is framed right now, it's fine to do what they're doing potentially with this new Slim. It's interesting that this came out through the Microsoft situations that's going on at the moment. But if this is 399 and let's just say it's 299 for that Project Q, I still don't think Project Q sells that well. So it's an interesting
that,
situation all around. But I think
yeah.
that's kind of the next phase of PS5 are both of those.
I don't
I
think
don't know
that.
that there's going to be a PS5 Pro, maybe next year, Obit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that the queue needs to be more than the Switch Lite. To
Yeah,
be honest with you, yeah, I mean it shouldn't be more than 199. I mean I could be wrong, but hey, we've been fortunate enough to have uh, to have been pretty accurate. But yeah, man, I'm thinking a Spider-Man bundle with this thing for the holidays,
it's great.
killer. So yeah, we'll
Change the
see.
colors too. Make it a slim with different. Don't make it look the exact same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make it different.